Yeah, so hello and good afternoon from my side. I will get slowly started while my colleagues will admit more people to our room. In the meanwhile, I take the opportunity to introduce myself. My name is Sophie Wiesinger. I'm from the University of Applied Sciences, Upper Austria, and we are part of this interesting Boost4BSO project. And today we are very happy that we will have our second workshop session. Let me quickly introduce you. We have a few members today that have not taken part last time. So today is our second session and the main topic will be Industry 4.0 technology applications. Boost4BSO is focusing at boosting the capacities of business support organizations with respect to Industry 4.0. So we are funded by the European Union, and the organizers of this event are from 6 different countries: Austria, Czech Republic, Germany, Hungary, Italy, and Poland. So today among the participants, you will find mainly people, members, representatives of BSOs from these 6 respective countries. So this is a very international meeting today, and we will benefit from each other's experiences in the field of consulting customers who have issues and the need for information in Industry 4.0. These are our project partners, as also our lead partner Eva Breuer from BISAP presented last week. Representatives of the 6 countries. We are part of it as university partners, but we have very many business support organizations from all around Europe. And we are very happy to cooperate in this project. We designed for the wave 2, the capacity building wave, a series of 5 events in total, but the 4 events are started already last week, and today we will have the second event and next week the third event. So please mark it in your calendar. It is we identified it as a good idea that we remain the same participants throughout these 4 events, because we have a background competition going on. So we will receive interesting input today from 2 experts, and afterwards there will be a competitive part, a case study part, where the teams will compete against each other. And at this point in time, I would like to give a warm welcome to Mr. Harald Weigold and Mr. Linke from the ITQ company in Germany, who are well-known experts in the field of Industry 4.0 technology. They are experienced in working with big customers, realizing concepts for Industry 4.0, IoT solutions. We are very excited that we could win them to give us their input today, and to lead you all as participants through the process of a case study. So our plan is for today that my colleague Boris from Stetter, Croatia, will give you a short insight into what is our methodology in the project, what is our approach, what is our main target, and then we will immediately start with the expert presentation with the input that we receive. We have a short break. Then we get in medias res, as we say, by being introduced to the case study that our experts have prepared for you. And then we have around 1 hour of time where we will all work in teams in 4 groups and try to resolve the case study. And I warn you, it's demanding. You will be asked to be BSO experts and trying to help a customer which is very in need of advice, and you will be preparing advice for this customer. And to make it a little bit exciting, we will finish up this case study with elevator pitch presentation. So each team only has 5 minutes to present the main findings. So your group speaker will have to make it quick and short and interesting. And this will be followed by a debriefing of our expert. Did your ideas go in the right direction? What was missing? What could be said to conclude this session? And of course, in the end, we'll ask you for feedback. This gives the organizers the time to put together the ranking. And at the very end of the session, you will know what is the actual ranking after 2 sessions now. The evaluation criteria for your presentations is how many topics did you find out that are relevant for the case, for the task? How customer oriented were you in your task? So how well did you take care of the customer's needs? And how was your time management? So it's now time for my colleague Boris to take over and give you a short insight into our project's approach. Thank you very much and welcome again to everybody. We've reached a number of 51. I think this is exactly a good opportunity to start.
Thank you, Sophie. I will now share my screen with you. So this is like just a very, very brief explanation why we have these 4.
Boris, could you speak up a little or turn the volume a bit higher?
Well, I hope that I'm not unmuted. So.
It's fine now.
Okay. So thank you, Sophie. I will now try to very, very briefly explain the methodology and actually why these 4 sessions are creating, and they are actually following the 4 steps of our methodology that we prepared. So it will be just a brief introduction. So what we are trying to propose to BSOs, that they are to follow 4 steps which are not prescriptive and not completely defined, more like which topics should be covered during the process of supporting companies in preparation of their Industry 4.0 transformation. So the first step, like, was actually what was covered during the first workshop, is to support or to help companies to identify and to assess the Industry 4.0 transformation opportunity. So it should be conducted through initial interview and to identify, to assess what is their existing state and to discuss which might be their challenges and which technology they might pursue, and to finish this initial meeting with some initial Industry 4.0 transformation goals. What this is some kind of lesson learned from our previous projects, in which some companies continue to work with us with not the CEOs or those who have a decision power, but those who were available, sometimes even juniors, which doesn't actually help with implementation of the project results. So the idea is that they actually try to focus, and the main challenge for this first step is that they have some kind of prize they can see if they actually achieve this Industry 4.0 transformation. So they will be interested in order to carry, even as those who are from the management board or from the ownership side of the company. So the second step is actually what we are going to discuss today, is about understanding Industry 4.0 tech implications. So, okay, you want to introduce artificial intelligence or robotics into your manufacturing capabilities, but do you understand what it takes, what it is all about? Can you identify potential experts and suppliers in your vicinity? So is it within the grasp of the company or not, and how much things might cost? So which implications those selected technologies bring if they want to actually pursue those type of changes. Of course, the other side of the coin is, okay, how it works with a business perspective. So because these technologies should improve the competitiveness, they should improve the bottom line of the company performance. So how those changes will impact business overall from all aspects. And those two steps are interrelated. So you can start the second step as a business implication and then move to tech implications or no, but probably it will go back and forth. So they are interrelated and they are iterative. So it's not like a linear process that you will finish discussion about technologies that might be available for the company, and then you will discuss business implications, and then you want, because probably there will be some obstacles or some things that company won't be capable of pursuing, or maybe there are no available suppliers, so they need to go back to the finding those technologies which are actually applicable from their perspective. And then the final step is design of the transformation roadmap. So our goal of our pilots is that we should enable companies to fully understand how they are going to digitalize their operations. So how they are going to implement particular or one or many Industry 4.0 technologies in their business, how that will implement their business strategy, how they are going to organize change strategy, so which elements needs to be changed, and then the sequence of these transformations as some kind of basic project description. So again, this fourth step is a result of the second and third, and then of course, if there are some obstacles identified in the design of the roadmap, then they need to go back and discuss technologies, or you need to drive them to go back and discuss technologies and the business implications. From the timeline perspective, so we envision that the pilot should last between 3 and 6 months. But our suggestion is that actually the first step should be really short. So because the goal for the first step is that you can open that discussion or that dialogue with the company and just identify basic goals. So suggestion is that actually it should be done within 1 day or maybe 2 hours or 3 hours discussion. While the second, third, and fourth phase can be between 3 months to 6 months, maybe even longer. Of course, within the project, we put some boundaries, but sometimes it can last even longer because, you know, the good roadmap will include those elements which can be implemented and won't include those elements which are just wishful thinking. So we just wanted to share this basic overview so that you can understand how these sessions fit into the methodology and what we are going to do afterwards while working with pilot companies that will be some kind of guinea pigs, where we are going to test applicability and possibility of change as a result of our BSO methodology. So that's from my side. I will now stop sharing my screen. You will get this slide so you can.
Thank you, Boris. Thank you very much for highlighting the main idea behind our set of workshops. And I may now invite Mr. Weigelt and Mr. Linke to enrich us with their input. So the floor is yours, please. Whoever is sharing the screen will share the screen now. Thank you.
Yeah, I will share the screen. So my name is Harald Weigelt. I'm from ITQ. And yeah, it's a pleasure and an honor for us to spend this next 2.5 hours together with you. So what we want to do is we want to give you some insights or some experience we have from real world projects. We are doing IoT projects with customers for a couple of years now. And there are a couple of things people don't consider when they look into IoT for the first time. And this is what we want to, this experience is what we really want to share with you. And yeah, so my colleague Jan Linke will start with a very short company presentation so that you know with whom you are dealing with today. And then we right away dive into the details. So, Jan. Okay.
So I will start. Hello together. You can hear me? Probably. I would like to start with a short, brief presentation of our company. As you can see on the first slide. I think you have to move it.
Okay. Not moving?
No. It's still on the first slide. Sorry about that.
Okay, on my screen it's not. Interesting.
Okay, that makes things different or difficult. What is the rest of the audience? You can see the next slide.
So, we see the first slide still.
So we have a
okay, the thing's frozen then.
Yeah, it's frozen.
I try to share again.
Yeah. Or maybe I try to share when. Good start. Now I see your face, Harald.
Okay, now?
Nothing is black. Maybe it makes sense that I present the presentation. Is that okay?
So it works well. Let me just give it another try. Freigabe wurde unterbrochen.
Let me tell the participants in the meanwhile maybe a little bit what we discussed with our experts before. We were saying that actually customers of BSO approach them and they have ideas of what should be done or what they would like to implement. And some of it is very technology oriented. And customers tend to overlook certain blind spots when having Industry 4.0 plans in mind, or they are completely lost when it comes to identifying experts or suppliers that could help them with it. And in many cases, this was an experience that our experts shared. They were lacking a full concept that is including all the departments, all the stakeholders within the company and outside the company. But now it looks very good, I think.
You can start again, okay.
Yeah, this is your link screen now. We could leave it like that, or you could go to the presentation mode and give it a try.
Yeah, I try again. So sorry about the complication.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
that's our normal experience.
Yeah.
These days with all these conferences.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. It worked when we tried it this morning. So
yeah. These are the grand challenges of digitalization.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Not being able to share
this is already
slides.
Yeah. It's part of the case study, you know.
Yeah. Not everything going well, but okay, I start again. So my name is Jan.
Versuch mal Präsenter-Mode, weil momentan sehe ich die ganzen Folien.
Okay. Then
at the moment we see your full screen and
not full screen. Okay. Okay. Then I will do. Everything is complicated.
Yes, I think it will be fine. It looks very good.
No, I have to change, but I have two screens. That is a problem. I have to put it on one. Probably will work.
Okay, but you could also leave this preview. It doesn't really, it's not so bad. We can do with that.
So now you can see the full screen.
Yes, wonderful.
Perfect. So
Beautiful.
third start. So my name is Jan Linke, and also I'm a colleague of Harald, and I'm the branch manager of our bureau in Duisburg. ITQ actually are 3 companies. It's a software factory and the ITQ, and also we have a bureau on Gran Canaria, Las Palmas, and other bureaus are in Erlangen and Berlin, and the headquarters is in Munich. We're around 200 employees, and special thing is that 40 up to 50% from our colleagues are still in education. That means they are study and they work in our customer project and have also our own projects. And they come from 30 different countries, and that leads us to a really less average age from 29 or less. So we are a quite young company, I would say. And our core competences, one of them is the software engineering. We have a big experience in software languages to control systems and machines, but also to process in high languages, process with data and so on. So this IoT stuff is in this high language. And the second field is mechatronical engineering. There we're doing consulting to figure out how you can build up a new machine, a new plant, and how you can make mechatronical modularization. And also we're doing benchmark of technologies and tools and so on. And the third field is this mechatronical education, as I said before. And our students go to schools and kindergarten and try to bring the young people that they have, that they're keen on to work with software, that they program Lego stuff and so on. And also the students coach our engineers and management in their companies when maybe they're really traditional and they focus on mechanics. Then it makes sense that we bring a special awareness in how to deal with software and more modern things. When you look in the past, you can see that the construction of machines plants was very dominated by mechanics, and you have really less electronics and computer science and software inside. And mechatronic was just an interface where maybe the drive of the machine was on board and nothing else. And when you look for today, the challenge is now quite bigger. In the age of IoT, we have much more software inside, and sure, we have still mechanics and some electronics, but really important is that mechatronics is an integrated approach. This is nothing which can do each department on its own. They have to work together and collaborate, and in a really early stage of the project. So that is now much more complicated, and that leads us to the IoT. And on this place, I would like to hand over to Harald, that he can give you some inputs in blind spots and what are the challenges when you want to develop an IoT platform.
Yeah, thanks, Jan. So yeah, our experience is that when our customers ask us to support them in the field of IoT platforms, hooking up machines to the cloud, bring machine learning into their environments and all those kind of things, that they are very, very focused on technology. Kannst du auf die nächste? And therefore, there are many blind spots or things they do not see, and this is something we want to address today and give you an overview of our experience there. So today, when we talk about IoT systems, it's basically that our customers have something in mind that's, let's say, an insights-driven or more or less, even more and more autonomous production. So there are many individual topics. So it's about auto-sensing equipment, so that equipment adjusts itself based on changing production condition. Then, of course, there is condition-based maintenance. Then there is automatic quality control. There is as well the production and supply chain optimization involved. We have to deal with self-directed vehicles. And of course, we have to deal with all this data that is collected and try to make sense out of it. And that's what we understand as insights-driven production. So today, companies, as I already mentioned, when they start IoT projects, they really focus on technology. And this could lead to a couple of problems when the project really evolves. So come over to mine. So for many companies, since they are quite new to IoT or they don't have any big experience, the endeavor to or the path to IoT is like a moonshot. So it's something they don't know how to get there. They just know they want to have something that's related to IoT. And from our perspective, it's the first important step is to make them aware that it's not an easy job and not only an R&D job. And there are many individual steps involved until you finally really get to your target. So many small steps before you finally have your platform, before you finally have reached your goal. And this is something that is super critical, and where customers really have to be made aware very early, that it's not an easy step. The transition to IoT, to an IoT platform, is a marathon and not a sprint. So many small steps are really required in order to reach and achieve your goal. When you look at it from an infrastructure or from a layered point of view, so on the bottom layer, of course, you have all the equipment. That's where you really have the sensors and controls. In bigger factories, you have to deal with different systems, so it's a very heterogeneous environment. Then, of course, you have to collect the information, have to bring together the information, have to convert information. And if latency really matters, you also have to do some local compute, local analysis of the information and feed it back into the individual and production processes. And on top of that, you really have the cloud where you really bring together all the information and really, in the end, have to make sense of it. But it can be a long way from the actors, the sensors, from the controls into the cloud. And this is also something you have to take care about. And cloud could also be something that's running on site within a company or on site within a factory. Okay. So when you think about, let's look. When you think about those IoT edge devices, you also have to think about how you really can integrate those systems into a whole setup. So you have to deal with topics like onboarding of devices, and you have to build the infrastructure for that as well. It's not only about transferring data, it's also about setting up the infrastructure and managing the infrastructure. Come off the next one. And of course, onboarding is one side of the coin. The other one is decommissioning. So when equipment is not needed anymore, when you have to replace it because of maintenance reasons or things have been wore out, or you have just to do updates, you also have to make sure that you're able to really remove this equipment from your platform. And equipment is not only hardware, it's also software systems that might be involved. So it's and therefore, security is an essential aspect as well. So you have to make sure that these connections, that the data that is transferred, that it is secured, and of course you also have to deal with the identity of these individual devices. So you have to make sure that only things that are allowed to communicate within your environment really communicate inside the environment, and the system is able to detect if somebody shouldn't be there. And this is something that is also important to be take into account when you really connect systems to the cloud. When you think about an end customer environment, so for example, an automotive company. An automotive company is using machines and devices from very, very different vendors. So one of the problems we are facing today, especially with smaller companies that are suppliers for those, for example, big automotive companies or food and packaging companies, they try to implement and invent their own cloud systems. So there will be a vendor A cloud and a vendor B cloud and a vendor C cloud. The trouble for an end customer, like, for example, Volkswagen, just to name one, is that they not only have to deal with machines from different vendors, they also have to deal with cloud infrastructure, cloud platforms from different vendors. So what we are faced with is silos inside the overall production environment. And this is something that also has to be taken into account, that we convince our customers that it very often is not a very good idea to build those closed silos and try to sell those closed silos, because from a business perspective, this is creating lots of trouble. So you need some kind of openness, and this is something that really has to be considered from the very beginning. So a key element to all those things is collaboration. You need defined interfaces so that you're able to build individual solutions, but those solutions, they have to fit to an overall system. So collaboration among those platforms, collaboration among individual devices is a key issue here. And this is something that has to be considered from the very beginning when you really start an IoT project. And this should also be part of the business strategy. So there are several levels of communication within the system. There is, of course, the edge-to-edge communication, which is super important as well in industrial environments. When you think about production lines or something like that, when you have to combine systems from different vendors, they not only have to share real-time data on the shop floor level, they also have to share higher level information, status information, state information, all kinds of things, recipe informations, and this has to be done on the edge level. So edge-to-edge communication is critical in order to avoid unnecessary latencies. And there you have, the same is true for the cloud level. So if you're dealing with individual platforms, those platforms, they need the ability to communicate or to exchange information among each other. And you have to build the information models for those, which means all those systems, they need some kind of baseline, some kind of common infrastructure, some kind of common language that they are able to understand each other. And this is also something that has to be considered early. So when you're dealing with IoT platforms, you should consider open standards. I've given only a few examples. And those should be part of your communication backbone, no matter what kind of data transfer mechanism you're sharing. It's important that systems are able to understand the information that is really shared among them. Otherwise, you have to build lots of converters, you speak lots of different languages, and you always need some sort of translators in between. If you have the chance to really go with open standards, with open source standards, then our advice is do so, because it saves you a lot of trouble in the projects. Besides those more technically related topics, we've learned that quite often in, let's say, small, medium-sized companies, or even at the very big ones, we are supporting. Being able to sell IoT solutions is a big problem, because the whole sales organizations, they are not trained for selling software. They are trained in selling machines, they are trained in selling tools, they are trained in selling spare parts, but they have no experience in selling software. Same is true for the support organization. You know, they are quite often used to change parts, to analyze on the mechanical or on the electrical level if there are problems, fix those problems on these levels. But now what happens is that they need some solid understanding what's going on in this whole IoT environment. So they need some additional new skills. They need the ability to really work with the data. They need to be able to read the data and deal with those topics as well. So this is a training effort, and this is you have to make sure that all the employees of the company are really able to support your IoT strategy, that you're able to train your end customers as well, and therefore training and is an essential part of the whole thing as well. Next step, when it really comes to architecturing an IoT solution, you have to consider a few additional things. Yeah, quite often people think about, okay, we are building something fancy, something new. Yeah, we can start from scratch, but in reality, this is not very often the case. So when you think about when you think about a very clean architecture, you came up with a sketch how things could really look like, how you hook up systems to each other, how they communicate to the cloud. You should not forget that basically in the field, you have to deal with lots of existing machines. So instead of really having a beautiful greenfield environment, where you can imagine something cool and new and build it really from scratch, you have to deal with more or less brownfield environments. So this means you have a lot of infrastructure that's already existing, and you cannot bring down, and you just can improve the whole thing. And especially in an IoT environment, this is a very important aspect of the thing, because if you only deal with new equipment, with new systems, then you're not able to leverage lots of data that is already generated in the field, which means the data foundation you have to, or you can really utilize in order to train your machine learning algorithms and whatever there is to optimize your processes is not there. So therefore, it's super important to be able to also utilize the existing machines in the field. And come off the next again. And quite often, it's not possible to directly hook into the existing environment, because this will be harmful to cycle times. So control loops will not work correctly anymore, because when those systems were designed, IoT wasn't something that the designers and the engineers really had in mind. So therefore, a good solution is really to add additional observers to the system and observe from the outside, not directly in the machines themselves, what's going on, and use some sort of information data fusion on the higher levels, on the edge level or on the cloud level. And this gives you the opportunity to really to really get the critical amount of data you really need to train, for example, machine learning models to predict what's going on in the field, or how you can improve your business processes or your production processes. Another thing you really should take care of and be aware of is in the past, people are used to build more or less big monolithic systems. For example, they can be very beautiful, like cathedrals and things like that. But if an infrastructure component inside a cathedral really fails, the whole thing comes down. When we deal with IoT projects, it's more like dealing with a bazaar. So you have many individual shops, small entities, and if one of them fails, it's not a big problem for the whole system. So which means from the very beginning, when you're dealing with IoT, think in highly distributed systems, think in congruency, and don't think in individual systems. It's about collaboration. It's about single identities, and those identities, they know best for themselves what to do and how to do. It's just important that there is a common language that they can really exchange the information among each other. What people quite often forget is that an IoT strategy basically has to be backed by a business strategy. And this is a super important topic because our experience is that many people really start with technology, as already mentioned in the beginning. And in the end, they don't know how to really build their end customers. You know, they don't have a real business model. They don't have the possibilities to really measure and to really, in the end, really charge the end customers. And depending on what kind of business model you're choosing, for example, if you're thinking about a pay-per-use model or something like that, you need the infrastructure that you really are able to build the customers based on the real usage. Yeah? So you need the ability to measure the usage. And therefore, it's always important to start with the customer experience before you really dig into the details of the technologies. You need to know what you want to achieve. Therefore, you have to know your customer. And a customer could also be another department inside the company, for example, a support department that wants some insights into something. And the business case and the way how you really invoice and bill is very different, and therefore the way how you set up and build your system will be very different. Therefore, at least the major business drivers, the major use cases from a business perspective have to be given at the very beginning, because otherwise you're building the wrong platform and you're advising for the wrong platform. So this is a key issue here. Yeah, and in order to be able to invoice customers, you need the infrastructure to do that. So we've seen IoT projects, real work projects, where a platform was already developed and the companies were not able to invoice their end customers, and therefore they are giving the services for free at the moment. And it's not only about, when we talk about money, it's not only about invoicing customers, it's also about operations, because IoT platforms themselves tend to be complicated very early, which means you need the skills to really operate the platform. And the more the IoT platform is really connected to the shop floor environment, the more critical it really is for the productivity of the company. And therefore, those skills have to be developed as well. And another critical aspect, many even software engineers are not aware of, is that depending on how the platform is built, the cost for operating this platform may be very different. And these aspects, they are not super transparent today. So for example, if you build something where you have small services that are only spinning up when there is a need to operate this service, then you only pay, let's say, for the CPU cycles, for the memory that is consumed when the thing's really needed. If you, for example, have a service sitting somewhere, like you always have your Excel sheets open or whatever, then you're billed even if no operations, even if no compute really happens. And therefore, operational costs is something that has to be considered very early, because it influences the way how you build your system. And this is critical for the financial success of the system. Another super important aspect, when it really comes to IoT platforms, that's the legal aspects of the whole thing. Because when you think about the different countries, where you might have to collect data, where you might have to operate your platform, then you can imagine that there are lots of different laws and rules and things to consider. So, for example, and they are even conflicting. Yeah? So, when we, for example, check the main regularities in the European Union, that's the General Data Protection Regulation. That is really focused on keeping data private. On the other hand, when you have to deal with customers in the US, there's a lot of other different regulations you have to take into account. So, for example, the regulations from the Department of Health and Human Services. And when we move to China, which is a super important market for most of the European company, and you compare the rules and laws and regulations to what we have in the European Union, things might even be the opposite. So all those things have to be considered when you're really building a platform. So which means there are a couple of skills that have to be available inside a company to be able to really build a successful platform. So when you deal with machine vending companies or machine building companies, they are used to mechanical, electrical, and software engineering, but now they also need skills to really operate large systems. They need to be able to do software engineering on that level. They need the operations skills to operate large international distributed systems. And what's even more important is they have to be aware that there are many legal aspects, even when it comes to shipping or transferring data, let's say from Germany to Europe. There are data export regulations, and many companies are not aware of that. So like with hardware and electronics, this is also true for some data, for data. So in the end, what's the most important thing to take away is that when we talk about IoT platforms, we are not talking about about the technological platform. We are talking about a transformation. And I guess you're already addressing this in this project, but it's super important to understand that the long-running tasks and the tasks that really are critical for the success of an IoT solutions are those that are not related to technology, because it's quite often a transformation inside the companies. It's quite often a way that departments have to interact differently, and that you have to build IoT or related skills in each and every department. So basically it's a cultural change, and you definitely have to think outside department boundaries. So it's really a team effort, and therefore those non-technical tasks, they have to be addressed very early in the process. And there's one more thing, many companies are taken by surprise. You also have to be prepared to be very transparent, because now what you're doing is, with an IoT platform, you give your customers a tool to measure your performance, to measure the equipment, to measure the performance of your equipment. And this is also something that has to be taken into account by sales and marketing, and also by the product designers. Because what you promise is now something where you give your end customers the tools to measure that you really keep your promises. And this is one of the things that took some of our customers really by surprise. And therefore, it's something you really should consider from the very beginning. And really, create the awareness that you're not only measuring what others are doing with your machines, you also give very deep insights of what's going on with your equipment.
Yeah, it's a really big field with a lot of different tasks, and so it's not an easy job to build up an IoT platform, and you have to consider a lot of different things, as Harald said to you before. So that is our expert input, what we prepared for you. And I don't know if we want to make a short break, but I think we a little after the time. So I don't know, Mrs. Wieseninger, should we continue?
Yes. I think the participants are fresh enough to follow the introduction to the case immediately, and I since it was very exciting to hear input from your side, I think we should immediately connect this input with our task, and I would suggest that we immediately go to the introduction of the case and start with the group activity at 3 p.m. sharp.
Yeah, that should be possible. Harald and me prepared a case study which you can try to solve later on. Therefore, you see this small video. We are built up vertical machines, vertical milling machines. And Harald and me working in a company called Boost4BSO Milling Inc. And as I said, we are a proud manufacturer of vertical milling machines. And our company is family owned, like a lot of companies which we know, and our customer are oftentimes family owned. And we are founded in 1929, and our companies have 700 employees. The turnover last year was more than 120 million, and we are a little bit focused on automotive. And as you can see, our distribution was focused on Europe and Asia, and the rest is in North America and in the world, 10%. And what you have to know, our experience in Internet of Things is very low, and we have not that much cloud expertise. And what we also know, our competitors, they are already prepared for an IoT platform. So we really have to focus on this task and try to build up our own IoT platform. And now I will explain you the initial situation which we have. We are, as you see before, very long in the market. So we have a big installed base, about more than 3,000 machines in the field, brownfield machines. But also we're working on the next generation of milling machines, and it's underdeveloped. And so we have to think about how we can find out the requirements for the new machines, but also for the old machines, which put his data in this cloud platform. And the rough requirements which I know now is we want to have an IoT platform so that we can stay ahead of our competition. And we heard also something about machine learning and predictive maintenance, and this sounds very cool to us. And we think about to have those algorithms also in our platform. One of the first things what should be ready is a status monitor of all our machines. That means of the greenfield machine by sure, and also the brownfield machines. And we have to think about the different adapters to collect the data from these machines. And in a second step, we think about what would be very cool when we get in an AI solution to optimize the machining process by itself. That would be really cool. And one of the other important things which we know is we want to remain in control over the data collection. It have to be in our hands. And we see IoT as an opportunity to make more money, to make additional money. So please help us to really find a good solution, and that we in a really short time get to a market with a nice and really good IoT platform, so that you can solve this challenge in the next time. We have here some questions which maybe you can focus on.
Okay, this is just the alte Folie.
Would you mind me sharing the screen?
Yeah, maybe it makes sense. I have also some, maybe we do it on this way. I show some examples for how they can solve it, or if you like, you share your, okay, you share your screen.
Because we
changed it a little bit.
We changed it a little bit, and just a second. Just a second. Share screen. Yes. That should be
Yeah.
a new one.
So propose the first approach for how you can support our company. That is the headline of the challenge, and the approach is the next steps you recovered for us, and yeah, things where we have to focus on. So please just write a sort of a roadmap or build up a roadmap how we can come to our IT platform. And also probably you see we have not that much experience, just rough requirements available. So probably there are open questions which we have to answer for you that you can do your work. So it would be nice when you find some questions where we have to focus on. And the last point, which is also good, is that you find some selling points and which should be the next steps, and yeah, how we can manage everything. So that would be our challenge, and that the things makes easier for you. I have just some examples. Maybe you can do it on this way. I go back to my presentation. See something again?
Yes.
So when you think about IoT platforms, it makes sense that maybe you build up a small system picture or a high-level architecture, and that's example for it. As you can see here, we have in blue the system, so our IoT platform, and we have a system boundary. And you can put just the main components which you think which you need for the IoT platform inside the blue, and outside there you have some interfaces to the machines to collect the data, but maybe also to a web browser to bring the status monitor in the web. That could be one way. And also another example could be that you just focus on the things which is outside of your system. So maybe you have different product families, or we have different product families, but also maybe some documents, and the service part maybe have to cover it with a laptop or with mobile devices. Also, sometimes you have interfaces to an ERP system, and you have to think about the users who use the platform. That leads you to different use cases. So that could be also a way to describe the steps for the IoT platform. Here's another example for the system, how it built up the main components, the core components you can see here. And that is a picture when you like to make a high-level architecture, that you really start with, we say, low-hanging fruits. So which is the first functionality which you need in the system, and which kind of data goes in, and bring it to a status monitor and so on. That could be also a possibility. And sure, you can just write sentences down and formulate some questions which have to be answered by our company. And here is the last example, I guess.
So it's not important how you do it. It's just important that you're able to offer us your approach. It's just a collection of topics here, so you don't have to really draw architectural diagrams. Just highlight the topics you think that are important to talk about. If you have some ideas how to solve some of the things where you think about, these are the problems we are facing as a Boost4BSO milling Inc. Just try to. So the level of detail we've given here in this challenge is the level of detail you quite often get, yeah, when you have the first contact to a company. So this is not something where we left out information. It's even sometimes more information than what you get for a first contact. And the challenge is really to present yourself to a Boost4BSO Inc., Milling Inc., and yeah, sell your approach and sell to us why we should select your team to do the next step in the IoT environment.
And when you're doing good, you get the most points on the end.
Perfect. So thank you very much for this introduction. You reminded us of the fact that we are now in 4 BSOs that are our 4 groups that we are used to work in from last time. We will be put in the breakout rooms very soon after I'm finished. And I think we can start the serious work at 3:05. So then we have some minutes of time to make ourselves comfortable in the breakout rooms, grab a coffee, and then start working in the groups. The points in the groups, once again, will be distributed to the number of topics you find out or identify, the number of issues you identify for your customer. Secondly, it will be the customer orientation. So how well do you manage as a group to respond to what the customer wants from you as a BSO? Yeah. So we heard everything about the customer having a lot of ideas, a little orientation, expecting a big concept, but what needs to be considered? So stay customer oriented. Yeah. And the third category of points will be your time management. I will get 0 points for that today, but your time management for the pitch later will also get points. So now I wish you the best of luck for your case competition. The experts will visit you in your rooms and you have the opportunity to ask them and discuss certain points with them. So when something is not clear, you have the opportunity in the rooms to ask questions. So don't be desperate. It will be very exciting and fun, and I'm looking forward to your findings. Please, Selina, put everybody in the right breakout room. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, if some of you were not in a group from the last time, maybe just let me know if you want to join one of the breakout room.
Yeah, sorry. Last time I was in one of the groups, but I had to leave before the end of the meeting.
Okay. In which one? If you remember. Okay, Alessia, now I will. Okay.
Thanks.
Just a moment, please.
Okay, I was in A Beautiful Mind.
Okay. So. Okay. Okay, so here see also Pietro and Joseph. This is your first workshop, or did you join also the last time?
Maria Luisa, in the meantime, if you want, you can put me in any of the groups because I'm just an observer.
Okay. Preferenze?
No,
Huh. We were not ready.
No.
No, I've not seen the clock. Where was the clock?
Yeah,
5 minutes left.
it seems that
Who said we are not ready?
who's not ready?
Because this just take 5 points off, right?
In German, the word fertig, ready, means at the same time exhausted. So who is
exhausted? Okay.
who is exhausted?
Thank you, Sophie.
Okay, everyone, it's good to have you back. I noticed that you had some very interesting discussions, and you can now get prepared for your pitches. Every group has exactly 5 minutes. I will have a countdown in my back, and I will stop sharing your screen after 5 minutes. So please there is no how to say, I'm lacking the word, but we will be very, very strict with everyone. 5 minutes, give your best, try to be customer oriented, try to mention your main points. And we are looking forward to your presentations. And I took the random order of the groups, which means that the group Science Squad will be starting. Science Squad was the first on the list of the breakout rooms. And
not a random order, we are always the first ones.
Really?
Yeah, we were at last time we were the first one.
Second one.
Okay. Would you like to, I mean, it's good luck, isn't it? Science Squad, you got the most points last time.
Yeah, but this time it may not be so easy.
Come on, yeah.
Yeah, you will do it. So as soon as your screen is shared, I will start my...
We are all with you, Patricia.
Yes, thank you. I will need you for sure. Okay, so should I share
Yes.
my... I mean, it's... okay.
Your time is...
Oh, wait a minute, just give me...
yes, not 1 minute. That's too long. Your time is starting.
Okay, can you see my screen and our very randomly put notes on on our Jamboard? Okay, so so we have started as we were supposed to from the customers and from the question what our customers expect from the IoT platform that we want to produce, and what should it make for us as a company to have this kind of a platform. So for sure, we wanted to have this for the increase of the productivity of the machines, for the predictive maintenance, the quality control, the energy efficiency, of the measurement of the energy efficiency. So all of this technical stuff of the machines, which we are not aware of, or maybe if we are aware, we can't measure it in a proper way without the sensors and the adapters and the IoT platform. Of course, to implement the platform, we should adjust the machines that we already have in the brownfield. So equip them with the proper sensors and proper devices that will let us to take the data from them, the data that we need for that we want to measure with the sensors. With the new equipment that we want to buy, it will be of course easier because we can think of before the purchase of what we need. So this is the first glimpse that we have on our platform. The recommendations that we, by we I mean now the business support organizations that is recommending something for the company. The next steps that we want to recommend, for sure, it will be for the company to firstly focus on, to be aware that it's not an easy journey to build a platform. It is a step-by-step project. So to focus on little things that they have in the company, and be aware of the barriers and obstacles that they have, for example, in these brownfield machines. Having this awareness, the company should focus on improving the skills that they have already. For example, in their employees, and improve their skills rather than hire the new one. To avoid losing the jobs of the employees, the quality employees that we already have in the company. For example, if we have to retrofit the machines in the brownfield, we should look for ask ourselves, the company should ask themselves about what the employees that they already have, what skills they should gain, and how they should be trained. The company also have to think about their customers, and if they are ready for the IoT solutions, and look on the market what solutions and what softwares are available, and adjust our software platform, our IoT platform, to the already existing. So not to reinvent the wheel, but also to be to collect the data in a way and proceed them in a way on the IoT platform that many companies will be able to look on it. Of course, the legal status and the security of the data that we have, it's also the very important aspect that companies should be aware. So, for example, the legal advisors that we have in the company should match with the experts that are experts in the IoT field to find the proper legal stuff on the markets that we are going on. So mostly the European, but also the Asian and the US. So the company should be aware that they looks different in a different countries. What else? Do we have the third page? Yes, we have. Yeah, and this is mostly something that I've already said.
Okay, the final statements, dear.
Yes. Yeah, maybe.
What final statement?
So that the company should be aware of the step-by-step approach, and should be aware that the IoT platform is not only the technology, but also the big transformation in a different fields and the cross-sectoral operation in the company, not only with the engineers, but with all the departments that we have.
Okay, thank you very much, dear Group Science Squad. This was a marathon. Thank you so much. Now we go to Group Basinga, which was the second in the breakout room ranking. And again, as soon as you have opened your screen, as soon as your speaker shares the screen, I will start my countdown.
I will not share the screen. I will have a verbal presentation of what we have done.
Okay. You say go and I start.
Okay, you can start.
Yes.
So we at Basinga Consulting Company have used an approach which is customer focused. After our initial meeting with our client, we decided to make a detailed analysis of the ecosystem in which he operates. So we conducted a few interviews with the clients already using their technology. And the aim was to see how they are using the technology and what are their real needs. Is it really necessary to implement the IoT in all of the systems that are being used, or can be focused on one part. And so to start our consulting process, we decided to focus on the brownfield clients and to focus on presenting one new service which most of the clients deemed as necessary in their business. So this new service would be introducing predictive maintenance in already installed machinery. So we developed a model that can be implemented, but first we decided to do a pilot project in one of the clients. And so we developed like a basic platform and like a minimal viable product of the platform and installed the sensors and started to collect data and build basic machine learning algorithms so we can see, so we can show that this predictive maintenance service is possible. Since the client saw the benefits of this service, we decided to start the whole implementation of the IoT as our service, and we did that by building the real platform and started to implement the service. So just to keep things short, our team consists of experts in various fields. That would be our unique selling point, since most of our clients, customers are almost 20% are from automotive sector. We have a team member that's knowledgeable in current standards that are being used in automotive sector. So this is really important if you want to make the integration in value chains of our customers. We have considered the transformational side that is necessary on the client side and on the end customer side. So we have a digital transformation expert and innovation manager in our team. And also, since this is a main part of digital agenda of European Union, we have analyzed the sources of financing for these projects. So there are a number of opportunities that these projects could be funded for our client and for their customers. So that's in brief.
Wonderful. Even before the countdown ended, thank you very much, dear Basinga team, very professional company. Let us go to the next team, which is Beautiful Mind. Same procedure. As soon as your screen is shared, you will see my countdown. You have 5 minutes to pitch your consultancy services for Boost4BSO milling company. Are you there? Beautiful Mind.
Yeah, Piotr should.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you want me to share the screen or you will?
Yeah. Can you see?
Okay.
We see it. Okay.
It is.
I'm starting.
Okay. So we established the process starting for the customers because we know that our customer, our company as a manufacturer has some idea, has some expectations, but we know that the projects will finish success when their clients and customers will satisfied and the revenue growth will in fact. So we start with their customers and clients' explorations. We started with understanding the business and some challenges and boundaries. We know that our customer is looking for AI solutions, is interested in collecting data, and looks the IoT as an opportunity for the business. And we as a consultant, after that observed some main issues and the final client's expectations in that, some boundary as energy use, preventive maintenance, scrap minimization, product quality, tool optimization. And we take under considerations the internal problems, and we know that there are some old machinery park, so we try to give the answer how to link existing old machines into the new system, how to convince client to link up to the cloud, and are the clients open to this openness, and what they gain when opening their data. So customers' expectations and the boundaries. After that, we put some technical, and after that business implications. So we translate the functionalities identified on the level of the final client into actions. The product, including the platform, how should perform. So we check the maturity of the company. We should recognize the technological and technical blind spots, and set the goals of that transformation, knowing the environment. After that, we should create the business technology model, the main functions, processes. We should think about the budget, the fundings of that, how to perform, what sort of standards should be used, the way the data should be proceed, the AI system and data gathering. So we check the possibilities of the transformation, the technologies available, the finances, the competences, the list of supplier and experts. Then they can introduce and implement that technology into a company, because we talk about the specific IoT and AI technologies. We took consideration not only the external customers, but also internal clients, the R&D department, the way how they want to have the information about the product functions, the quality performance, the marketing department, the service department, in terms of preventing maintenance and support.
One final statement.
Okay, and after that we can create the final roadmap how to implement that solutions. And our selling points: experienced team, diversified skills, tech and business. We have the integrated methodology to apply that focus on internal processes and external relations with the clients. We know the sector, we have a lot of benchmarks, and we know that the risk can occur during the implementations. and we have.
Thank you very much. I have to be fair. Thank you, beautiful mind, for the beautiful presentation. And we will see if the group Fast and Curious are fast and curious. So same procedure as every time. You will share your screen and I will start my countdown. Fast and Furious.
Yes, but
who will take over?
I don't know if I have the material.
At this point of the workshop session, you
okay. Sorry. Okay, done. Okay, let's go. Okay, I have to share it. Okay, share. Where is it? Okay, it's here. Okay. So,
let's
okay.
go.
Can you see it? Okay, thanks.
Yes.
We have a lot of questions for our potential customers. So I would like to understand if this development has been shared with the ownership or a business development department. So the question is also, do you have a business development department? Because the organization was not was not explained in detail. So how you organize? Do you have branches? The branches are very important because they are in connection with the customers. So also branches abroad are very important to be involved from the early beginning. How is the internal organization, and how is the knowledge about this technology and the potential fall down of this technology in the staff and the level of training of the staff to these new challenges. Did you about the strategy? So did you also have made an evaluation for the improvement with IoT? So have you already set a budget and timing? What is the expected timing for having this kind of solution operational already in the market? And also, what is the budget and the total financial dimension of the project? Have you also considered the connection or the coherence between your IoT strategy with the business strategy? Is it matching? Is it something that is stable? And what has been put in the statement was the need of development of a brownfield and greenfield solution. Where do you start from? Because we think that it's not good to start from scratch in the two different domains, but setting a priority. So going step by step should be the way. What are the main features of your machines? Do you know them? Do you have data? Do you have some historical data about failures? And to understand what is the need of sensors and the things to control and to keep under control of in our IoT solution. Then we will be able to build a data collection, and based on this data collection, make some prediction. But we need before to understand what is needed to be measured. How are you using some data? Are you using data for the potential new business model, like maintenance at customer size? How the data can be used in the brownfield and also in the greenfield. This is connected to the point that I have highlighted before, 2.7. Very important, the IT platform will be internally managed, or is it will be outsourced? Are we a supplier or a partner? So to understand if we will run the platform for you, or if you will run the platform by yourself. the following one is okay. The suggestion or next steps is that we need to meet the company, not only the research and development department, but also the CEO and the ownership, and setting up a team or a project that encompasses all the different departments with their different needs and views, and the contact with the customer. And what is the digitalization strategy or operationally run in the company? What are the technical competencies and the business one? General knowledge also on IT, so information technology, should be identified. Some training activity should be performed on the technical side, on the different people in the different department. The technical side, the like sensors, the IoT solution. And
time is
overall.
over, unfortunately. Okay. Paolo, would you like to
small step and implement step by step. Okay, that's it.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So thank you all for participating in this elevator pitch presentation. And I would like to hand over now to Harald Weigold and Jörn Linke to make a debriefing of the case. What did our participants identify correctly? What are the points that you would like to underline? What was missing? What has to be done? What should not be omitted? Please, I'm asking for your short debriefing session.
So one thing that's super important to get clarity is what the platform should really build for. What we face in the field quite often is that people are just talking about platforms or solutions or about AI, machine learning, but they don't know what use cases they really have. And many of you have already identified this, so you have to get to know the end customers and the use cases. When it comes to customers, you also have to think about internal customers. It's not only external customers, where you have to really figure out, let's say, what the challenges of the end customers really are. It could also be internal departments like service maintenance, because, for example, when it comes to predictive maintenance, which is a topic that was mentioned by a couple of teams here, the trouble with predictive maintenance, for example, is that it's pretty hard to get money for those features. So it's not something you really can sell to the end customer, because the end customer expects your machines to work. But you have an internal customer for that, for those predictive maintenance topics. And that's, of course, the service departments or the departments that are selling tools or parts or whatever. But the workflow and the way how the money really flows is way different. So on one hand, we are talking about savings. So what kind of cost savings, cost optimizations we may achieve internally with an IoT platform. And on the other hand, that's additional products we can sell where a customer really is likely to pay for the service you are offering. Machine learning itself, for example, is another topic. That's something, that's cool, to talk about machine learning right now, but you need a use case for that. You need to know the problem that has to be solved. And if machine learning is the right tool to solve this given problem, is something you decide during the process, because sometimes it's just simple statistics and not machine learning at all. What was missing from my point of view is the aspects, for example, when you deal with automotive customers, they really have their standards, and you have to follow their standards, and you have to integrate. So you have to ask your customer, what kind of standards, regulations do we really have to follow? This is also something important to take into account. So what our recommended approach really is, when when you get in contact with a customer. Recommend something like a scoping workshop or a workshop where you're really able to ask your questions, where you really get to know the customer and figure out what are the main drivers behind his desire to build a platform. So when you're in a position to offer something, make sure, and you have a lot of questions, put them in a position that he has to answer these questions. And the best thing to do that is do a first workshop together with him. Yeah. Let him know that you don't have the full understanding of what's going on. You understand his basic desire, but you need more information, and then work on the topics together with him. Now, because if you just call or send email, you don't get the answers you're really looking for. And the business strategy is an essential part of that. And this is something that should be addressed very early and should be also addressed during these workshops. You know, because it really makes a difference if you really want to sell something, additional functionality, additional benefits to an end customer, and this customer is willing to pay for. So you have to identify what the use cases are and what these benefits really are, or if it's about cost optimization internally. And for example, again, predictive maintenance is not something where you really get money for. Many IoT projects today are just investments. Yeah, let's put it that way. And they are not really very beneficial from the cash flow for the individual companies, because the needs of the end customers are not directly addressed. So it's not beneficial, it's not adding additional value. Today, the companies that are really making good revenues out of this IoT business are the companies that really sell the infrastructure. Yeah? So it's the hyperscalers and those guys who really provide networking, compute, and all those kind of things. So think about something that is really beneficial to the end customer. So that's the main takeaway here, from my point of view.
Maybe I can add something. I think it's also really important that the customers think about how they can earn money with this platform, so that they continue with the development and that they found new ways for the business. So therefore they have to analyze the data which they collect from their machines, and maybe they need a sort of data scientist which is able to get the right idea about the data and what could the business of the future. I think this is also an important part, that you not just say I have a roadmap for a few years, so that you know that you're not everything know today, and find the right way to implement this later on and make more money with it. This is also an important point.
I can also give you a real life example. So one of our customers was also asking for an IoT platform, and what we figured out during these discussions with him and some of his end customers is that the things that really hurt the end customer the most is that after the machining process itself, they have to qualify each and every part. They have to put it on an additional machine to really measure the part, to measure the quality of the part. And what we are doing right now is we use data we collect inside the machine, data that is already provided by the drives, and can really predict, or can really give an advice if a part is measured within tolerances, or if we are not certain enough and that it should go to an additional measuring device, which is a huge cost saving for the end customer. And is something we haven't thought about in the very beginning. And the end customer is willing to pay a lot of money for it, because it brings down his costs and increases his productivity a lot. And these are the sweet spots you have to find, because then you have solution. You really can sell, and therefore it's important to really understand the business. The other thing is really when it comes to cost savings, then you have to figure out where the cost drivers really are within the company and check if you can solve it with IoT solutions. So yeah, predict when new tools have to be shipped, predict toolware and stuff like that. This is something that could optimize internal costs.
Harold, just to add a little issue about this, these are the two issues which you really mentioned good. So the client perspective, looking at his expectations and functionalities he wants to join in order to also save costs, and where we can come in with new technologies as the supplier. On the other hand, when you talked about preventive maintenance, what we observe is that the gain of preventive maintenance is not for the supplier, like you said, that it's a difficult issue because he cannot earn. But we see a lot of preventive maintenance projects at the side of the users, because they stop believing the machine suppliers.
Yeah.
And as such, they want to have their own preventive maintenance supportive programs in order to improve the use of machinery.
Yeah,
and we have observed in some companies that they have a yearly gain between 1.5 and 4 million euros because of the fact that they provided own preventive maintenance systems and did not follow the machine supplier requirements anymore.
Yeah, agreed. We have the same experience. So that really depends on what's most important to the customer. It's just, predictive maintenance is one of the things that's very fashionable, and it's not the key driver in many cases. If it's about downtime, planned downtime, things like that, it is very useful. And therefore it's just, you have to figure out what hurts the end customer the most. And that's what he really is willing to pay for, to get rid of those things.
Because these new technologies, especially if we take today the point of view of machine builders, certain IoT technologies today weaken the bargaining position of the machine builders.
Yep.
And this awareness is also very important.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. So therefore, it's super important to understand the drivers behind the business, because that's in the end, what you get money for and how to get back your invest. Another thing, why we mentioned this brownfield environment. The thing is, when you're doing IoT projects, and when you really are in predictive maintenance or stuff like that, you need a solid base of information you can rely on. And when you take into account that, for example, developing a new machine takes until it's really in the field, takes 3 to 6 years, depending on the complexity of the machine. Then in 6 years you have maybe 20 machines in the field, but you don't have enough data to really work on this information. And therefore, leveraging the installed base is critical, and therefore we recommend doing that, if it's possible, and if the customers are willing to invest here. It's just a necessity. Okay. On the general, what I liked is how you interacted within the teams within each other. At least I've seen lots of discussions and collaboration. That's something I really loved. Guess you're on a good way here, and guess we're running a little bit out of time. You mentioned the basic points, of course, and all of you. And just when it comes to the list of questions we heard, my recommendation again is bring your customer into a position where he has to answer those. And our recommendation is really try to do some scoping or whatever kind of workshops together with him to narrow down the problem, to get to know what he is really after, and involve as many departments as you can. And then you have the answers to really get the project started and successfully done.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a very good closing recommendation, because I think especially in such complex situations, it might be necessary to narrow the topic down, as you said. Thank you very much for the debriefing and for the very interesting input and recommendations you as experts gave to us. I also enjoyed the session very much. I ask now Eva Breuer, our lead partner from the BISAP, to post a feedback link. And I would ask all of you to take another 5 minutes of time to do the feedback link, to distract yourself a little bit from the tension, because in the meanwhile, I will work on the ranking. And when you're done with the feedback in 5 minutes, at 16:40 sharp, I should be able to show you the ranking, which group is in front and what are the points after 2 sessions from 4 workshops. Okay, so please do the feedback. And dear experts, would you be so kind to send me the points maybe in the chat as a private message or as an email so that I can put them together?
We can also meet in the
expert rooms, just a short.
There is no room left, I think. Oh, is it left, the expert room? Yeah. Yeah, we can meet in the expert room.
I don't know if I get in that room. It's different.
No, I think we can't do that anymore because then everybody will be moved to the rooms back to.
Okay.
Maybe how we can use a SMS to just or just.
Yeah, I can give you a call.
Have a short telephone call. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I'll give you a call.
Okay, thanks. So then we make a silence.
Experts are still consulting. It's very hard this time because everybody was so good.
Especially Team Bazinga.
Don't try to influence.
Boris is a good influencer, I see.
He has a lot of followers.
This was just like a public response.
Maybe we can take the occasion of making the feedback questionnaire. What do you think?
Yes, we are doing it, I think. It's in the chat.
Okay, great.
Ms. Wiesinger, we send you the results, and I put our points together and divided by 2. No, we just discussed a little bit and we come to a result and send it.
So group 1, was it the science squad?
Right, then Bazinga, and then Beautiful Mind and Fast and Furious at least.
Bazinga, and then Beautiful Mind, and then Fast and Furious.
Right.
Okay, you're overestimating my tech skills. I will need some time.
Now we can't hear you.
I said I need some time to enter that. Please don't overestimate my tech skills.
It was really tough because I guess everybody was good.
Yeah, it's always difficult. Bazinga. So, then we have there is some calculation to do.
May I help you, Sophie?
No, I shouldn't share my video when calculating, but it seems okay. I'm everything is under control. I'll put it on the. Oh my God, this is exciting.
It would be a possibility for me to change the results a little bit.
Yes, this is.
The question is if you have to.
I don't know.
No, it's a
We'll
clear.
see.
It's clear findings. It's quite clear. The whole thing. Yes. Oh my God, I'm so excited. One more adaptation, and then my friend. Yeah, ta 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 ta.
Trommelwirbel heißt es.
Yes.
Okay, so I will share my screen now. Screen sharing, slide sharing.
And here we go.
Ta ta ta. So today's winners are Bazinga, followed by Fast and Curious, Beautiful Mind, and Science Squad. And the overall group, this is just an intermediate result. You should be aware that everything can change because we have 2 more sessions to come. Yeah, the intermediate result is the following. Following the orange ranking: Bazinga, Fast and Curious, Science Squad, and Beautiful Mind. So everyone, congratulations and thank you for participating. You are very, very close to each other when thinking that the maximum points are 100. So everybody did a very good job. We are very happy that you were so actively participating. And actually, I'm trying to continue and trying to alert you again that our next event is next week, where we will deal with understanding the business implications of Industry 4.0, and Stetter from Croatia will be organizing this event for us in a team with other partners, and we are very much looking forward to that. Please join us and contribute as actively as this time. Finally, I would like to thank you. I have a lot of people to thank. First of all, thank you to our experts for preparing the session, like inventing this case, guiding us through the session, through the workshops, advising us. It was a real pleasure to have you. Thank you, Mr. Weigold, and thank you, Mr. Linke. Thank you very much. I would like to thank my co-organizers, because this workshop was done together with ABO from Czech Republic and Bayern Innovative from Bavaria. Thank you for co-organizing this. And thank you also to our Italian partners, Selina and Mario Luisa, who supported us so perfectly with the technology, that everything was functioning and everything was working. Thank you for your support. Thank you everybody for taking the time, filling in the feedback questionnaire, and looking forward to meeting you again soon. Any final word from your side, Eva, as a lead partner? Anything?
I only want to thank all for participating today, and I'm also looking forward for next week's session.
Yeah.
Very much. Enjoy your afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, it was great fun. So thanks for the
Thank you,
opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
everyone. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.